Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. So glad you're here to nourish your roots with me. And, I've been seeing this trending around and really for years because it is absolutely a theme here. And it's probably one of the biggest questions that I get asked as a functional bloodwork specialist. People want to know, why are my labs normal when I feel like absolute crap all the time? So, and this especially happens for women, right? We get into perimenopause and menopause, and all these things start happening to us, and things start amping up. I mean, like your fatigue is crazy. This hurts and that hurts. Your joints are just like, it's just everything hurts more. I mean, you thought you were in pain in your early 30s, and then you get into here and you're just like, what is going on? And we're told, oh, well, your labs are normal. So I don't know why you can't sleep at night and can't stay awake during the day. I don't know why you keep gaining weight like crazy. Everything looks totally fine. And the thing is, everything's not fine, or you wouldn't feel that way. So there's a lot of gaslighting going on in the doctor's offices. There's a lot of feeling like you're just completely unheard. It's very frustrating. You wait months and months and months to finally get the appointment because healthcare is such a pain in the ass in this country that most of the time it takes you forever and a day to get in to see your doctor. And I mean, I'm not knocking all doctors because they're not all this way. Okay. So I'm going to be very clear about that. There are plenty of fantastic doctors in this country and around the world. And we're very happy that they know what they know and that they help who they help. But overall, it's just overwhelming how many women you get excited for your appointment. You finally are going in. You're like, all right, I'm going to get some answers. I'm going to be able to figure out what's going on. And what do? They say, well, all of your labs are looking normal. If you could even get them to run labs, everything looks normal. So this is probably, you're depressed, you're anxious. It's just your age. You're going to gain weight because you're getting older. Of course, your hip hurts. It's like, sir and or madam, I'm 44, not 84. My hip doesn't just hurt for funsies. Like, what's going on? And there's a couple different reasons. Okay. I mean, really, for decades and decades, women were not studied as far as, like studying for drugs and things. So we've been, prescribed the same things as men. Even like, they weren't even using actual blood for like testing period products, which is like, what? Like this blue stuff is not the same. So we've been very much put on the back burner, not understood, and just assumed that it doesn't matter that we're not understood. Assumed that we are just so much like men that, it should be fine. But on the same token, there are plenty of men out there too who go, well, I feel pretty crappy and, my labs are normal too. But I predominantly work with women, ages 35-ish to 60-ish, when you need my help, right? But so what the hell is going on here? Why? Like, how can it be possible that all of my blood work looks completely normal when I feel this way? Okay, and I'm going to tell you, your conventional physician is not is they're not looking for nutritional deficiencies. They are looking to diagnose you. That's it. If you are not diagnosable, they don't really have much for you. Now, some of them will give you some, dietary and lifestyle advice. They'll give you, they'll tell you some things, and that can be very helpful. But most of the time, they just chalk it up to, well, you're going to have anxiety here. Would you like it? Would you like an antidepressant? We can do this or that. They really write it off and make you just kind of feel like this is how you're supposed to feel because there's nothing wrong with you. And the the thing is, can you imagine how awful you would feel if you were diagnosable? Think about how you're feeling right now. Like you're tired, you're constipated, everything's fluffier in the midsection, your joints are doing weird stuff and creaking, everything is hurting. Maybe you're breaking out more than you used to. Even, like your attention span and your emotions are going like they're extra amped up, as because your hormones are doing different things now than they were 10 years ago. So these things are going on. And can you imagine how much worse you would have to feel to actually be diagnosable? This is a big issue in the thyroid realm because you could have, like a subclinical hypothyroid issue and it would just be written off as anxiety or ADHD or whatever. There's just so many other things that it would be written off as, because when you're not putting it all together. And then when you look at the thyroid numbers, just like with TSH, for example, which is a pituitary hormone, but it talks to the thyroid. So, with the range that they're looking at is so huge. It's like trying to choose your favorite restaurant between New York City and LA. Like there's so much there's so much choice, there's so much room for choice. It's ridiculous. It's just too wide. So they're not looking at it as like okay, because I want to look at it from a much smaller spot so that I can go, okay, so there are things going on here. They're not diagnosable, and my whole plan is to make you not become diagnosable. Okay. You don't want to just go home and sit there and feel worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until finally the doctor goes, here we go. Now your numbers are craptastic enough that I can give you medicine. And then you're really not feeling all that much better anyway. And there are things that you could have done to fix things in the first place. Now, this is pretty much what any functional blood work specialist, medical doctor, a functional medicine doctor, holistic doctor, any kind of holistic practitioner, this is what they're going to be looking to do for you, is to be able to figure out where there are gaps in nutrition, where we can make some small changes so that your numbers never actually get to that diagnosable point. So why should you come to me instead of all those other people? And it's not that there's anything wrong with those other, a lot of them are my colleagues. They're great people and they know their stuff. But I am going to also give you your quantum frequency blueprint. So, this podcast is called Wellness Blueprints for a reason. We all have a frequency. We all have this morphogenetic field that's going, it's swirling around us. It's permeating through our bodies and all around us, extending out to everything. Everything has this, right? So, but that morphogenetic field that holds your vital body, your bliss body, all of this, that actually holds the blueprints for your physical body. And you know what? It's more important to focus on that than it is to focus on the physical. So a lot of the time, and I mean, I have been there, people get sick and tired of the large supplement programs. You sort of become like a supplement junkie, taking these super huge programs. And, a lot of the time, especially with muscle testing and stuff, people will test for all of these things because they're good for the body, it's doing something good. So your body's like, yeah, sure, I'll take that. But at the end of the day, it can get really, really annoying to have to keep up with that, to take something for so super long. So when I read your blood work, I am also going to read that quantum frequency blueprint, and I'm going to give you that and your functional blood work analysis through video. I'm going to give you all of that so that you can see what's going on in your energy centers, what needed to be released, because it's just standing in the way of the true you, of that essence of you, of that health of you that is underneath of all of this. And it is confusing you, tricking you into acting certain ways, believing certain ways. I mean, people don't like to hear stuff like this sometimes, but honestly, if you have a deep-seated belief that you don't deserve to be happy, then you're probably going to feel pretty depressed a lot of the time in your life. And these things, it's how we're built. Okay. So you have your subconscious, and then your subconscious builds this conscious, and then we have to unbuild that and go back to it. Okay. It's not anything that anybody's done wrong. It's like we all have these things. We are all set in our ways. Why do I think this way? Why do I keep making this decision? And the same types of things happen with your health. Why do I keep having these health patterns? And sure, genetics are going to play a little bit of a part in there, especially if you're talking about something autoimmune. You are whatever it is that you were predisposed to genetically, when something goes awry, that is where it's going to come up, whether, if it's thyroid or MS or, whatever, psoriasis, whatever the case might be in your family. But we want to be able to get in and rewire those beliefs and get rid of these confusing things going on the underside there, because that has to mirror the health. Now, each one of your energy centers is connected to one of your endocrine glands. And, especially this time of our lives, ladies, what is it that is going crazy? I have already said it. It's your hormones. And those are all of your endocrine glands. So when things are changing and shifting and everything, things can get tipped off here and there. And it's because there's, toxic gunk in there. Some of it is physical gunk. We want to drain some of that out. And then you have that energetic gunk, that spiritual gunk that's in there. And that's the stuff that we want to get in there and get rid of. Okay. We want to, we'll do some emotion code and body code through your quantum frequency blueprints. And then we'll learn even more about what we can do to truly change those beliefs. And you're going to start to notice like so much stuff is going better in your life physically because you have gone through these more emotional, energetic surgeries, if you will. Okay. So let's see. So I just want to figure out how I can best say this. Okay, because honestly, all right, we overcomplicate things. Uh, the mind is very complicated, but spirit is very simple. And the spirit, the essence inside of us, is very simple. So this can sound like it's, more complicated, but it's really not. It's extremely simple. And that's how I want to keep the supplements as well. Of course, there's probably going to be some supplements with my magnetic quanta. We do have some basic supplements for emotional, mental support for the mitochondria. We want to support the cells and some to help to drain out, like, to support your drainage pathways, which, that's not something that's, a bad thing to do. If you're feeling a little bit off, you're like, okay, let me take some herbs that can help me rebalance my microbiome. And, like rebalancing your microbiome is going to help in multiple different ways because you're going to be able to produce serotonin and dopamine better. It's going to be able to get to your brain better. So you're going to feel happier. Everybody feels pretty happy when they can poop in a normal fashion. If you're constipated or you've got diarrhea, it's probably not your most favorite day. You might not be smiling that day. So happy people poop on a regular basis. So things like that. You want to be able to keep these things simple, because overcomplicating it really just confuses everything about the entire body and the entire, all like both inside out, your mental, your mind, all of that gets confused when we overanalyze things, when we are, practitioner hopping and going, well, I like this program, but I'm going to go do this program too. And it's like, okay, well, let's just do one thing at a time. Let's try one thing at a time. Let's try this program. Let's do this, sticking to something and having that commitment to it and keeping it simple, because really it's more about like, you want to be able to keep your nervous system nice and calm. And if you are constantly like, I have to take all of these supplements or my body's not going to heal. I have to do all of this or my body's not going to heal. That's keeping you, because you're afraid of not healing, if that makes sense. And you're still kind of being led by this like what ifs and this anxiety of feeling not so good all the time. And what am I supposed to do? And is it working yet? And you're constantly analyzing everything. So I want to keep it simple for you. But really, so the reason why your blood work is normal is because those doctors aren't looking for that. They're just looking to diagnose. They're not looking for from a functional perspective. They're not looking at it to find gaps in places and look for places of improvement. They're only looking for giant red flags. And giant red flags means that there's already craziness going on inside the body and the fire alarms are going off. We want to keep the fire alarms from going off. We want to calm that nervous system down and allow your body's natural rhythms and healing to do what they can do. And that's how I roll. Okay. And yes, your quantum frequency blueprint is more important. And that work is more important. It is at the forefront. It is what you need to be doing first. And that is what sets me apart, because yes, I'm going to say, listen, here's what's going on with all of your labs. And I'm going to sound all sciencey and the whole bit. And then here is this. And this is just as important. And the two will absolutely overlap. I mean, I've talked about it before, how I have had people that I've been working with energy work for quite some time. And then they have me read their blood work. And I'm just like, wow, I could have guessed what their blood work looked like just because of what they've been complaining about and what sorts of things have been coming up. And it makes perfect sense. So it all aligns, and that spiritual side is more important. And that is what you're going to get from me. So we're going to be going from the inside of the energy centers, from the inside, to try and get down to remember our true essence. And then our body will be able to mirror that true essence in your health. So, if you would like to learn a little bit about reading your blood work, I have my Mind Body Magic, and it also talks a little bit more about what happens to your body physically when you experience emotional trauma. So you can go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/magic. That is a $77 course that you do self-paced. If you would like me to do your quantum frequency blueprint or read your blood work for you, just go ahead and reach out to me. You can email me at hello@deeprootedwellnessid.com, and I will be happy to get you all set up for that. You can sign up for the quantum frequency blueprint on my website at deeprootedwellnessid.com if you just want to hop right on there and do that. But that is what sets me apart. That is the difference between functional blood work, looking at something from a functional perspective, and a conventional medical perspective, because the objectives are different. Okay. The medical doctor is looking to diagnose, and the functional doctor is not. And we are actually looking to keep you from having a diagnosis. That would be ideal. Get you feeling better and your body back to health before it becomes a diagnosis. That would be ideal. And with me, you're getting your quantum frequency blueprint too. So I can't wait to work with you. Have a beautiful week, everybody. It's a beautiful spring day here today. Tomorrow may not be quite so much, but enjoy the weather, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and bye for now.